areas walking down the steps.
Well, to no one's surprise, I think we have a victory here, and I want to thank the people of California for giving me a fourth chance to serve them in the governorship. At least the primary, the win, kind of the Democratic nomination, but it's the top two winner for now. So I'm going to campaign hard. I take nothing for granted, and I just have to say that California has come a long way in the last few years. We've closed a massive budget deficit. We have good relations between the two parties working on significant issues, and we have a rainy day fund that will be on the ballot, and it's very important that rainy day fund be approved by the people on the November ballot. So as far as I can see, summing it all up, Californians appreciate living within our means, managing the people's money, creating a rainy day fund, and just bringing a very common sense, get it done kind of approach. And at this point, 40 years from the time I won my first primary for governor in California, I'm ready to tackle problems, not on a partisan basis, but on the long-term basis of building California and making sure we're ready for the future. I'll be glad to take any
Governor,
questions.
you look like you got about 56–57% of the vote. What's your reaction to that? How are you feeling overall, emotionally?
Well, you know, someone once told me that you win elections the year before. And what's won this election tonight is curing a $27 billion deficit, keeping my promise not to raise taxes unless the people themselves voted for it, and bringing government closer to the people. We're doing that with the realignment of our prison system. We're doing that with our school system by putting more authority into the hands of teachers, more authority at the local school level, and not trying to aggregate all the power up here in Sacramento, because that just doesn't work.
Do you have a sense of nostalgia tonight, being in the mansion that your family lived in for so many years?
Well, I do have some nostalgia. I also think we need a little bit of cleaning, and I think the electrical wires need repair. I think some of the, well, I won't go into all the details, but it isn't quite like we left it in 1966, but it's in pretty good shape. And I think it serves as a good venue for me to meet with my cabinet, talk to the agency secretaries, and planning what are we going to do for the next 4.5 years if the November election mirrors this primary, as I hope it will.
So you haven't put out much of an agenda for your second term yet. You focused on your budget for this year and your water and high-speed rail. Can you tell us tonight what you are going to run on, what your platform is?
Well, I would say, you know, we don't have a budget yet this year. There's billions of dollars floating around over at the Capitol, and we're going to have to, you know, rein that all in. I'll work closely with the legislature. But, you know, it's not just proposing more ideas. We have a lot of ideas. Now we got to make them work. We have problems about water and the drought. We have issues of public safety and the courts telling us we have to reduce our prison population. We have a lot of low-income families that need health care and also need special help when it comes to schooling. So all that is already embodied in the law, but I want to go up and down the state making sure we can operationalize it. And that's why I've been already to 10 counties talking with supervisors and teachers and superintendents and police chiefs. And I intend to do more of that during this campaign.
Early return show Neil Kaskari leading the race so far is coming in second. How do you feel about facing him in the fall?
Well, I think the other party, although it's slipping, still has an opportunity to present an alternative candidate, and then I think the people will have a choice, and I think that's good.
Are you going to debate your opponent, your Republican opponent?
We'll do what is ever is needed, and in the coming days we can decide all those questions.
You've said that recently that you don't support full legalization of marijuana. You also haven't said that you are totally opposed to fracking. In your time here as governor, have you become more moderate? Is that how you describe yourself now? Well, first of all, on the first question, I issued not a policy statement, but what I would call a wry comment. With respect to the second, I said we ought to let science provide the information, and I think that's pretty down the middle and pretty intelligent. But if you're asking me, does the world look a little different
at 76 than it does at 36? The answer is yes. It looks quite a bit different, but I'm really glad I'm standing here talking to you about it.
You're listening to Governor Brown addressing questions from reporters outside the governor's mansion in Sacramento. He's talking about being on the ballot for November,
well, right
being
now,
the top vote getter, and we're going to toss it back to our anchors now.
Get a balanced budget, get the
we're going to actually continue to listen in for just a little bit longer as his wife, Ann Gus Brown, is by his side, and we'll wait and see what else he has to say.
And lots more. That's my number one concern, to keep trust with the people's money and not go back to the massive deficits of the past.
So do you envision actually having to devote much of your time away out of the governor's office and campaign travel?
Well, I will devote as much time as I need to getting around the state and to whatever comes up, whether it's political or governmental or policy. I'll be there. And I have to say that the campaign that certainly my wife was advising you on, it seems to have pretty good results. So I think what worked before might work again.
Are you beatable?
Pardon me?
Are you beatable? That's
look,
question.
Fortune is fickle, and I would never predict the future. So I'm cautious. I'm going to do everything I can to merit the people's trust. And then in November, people will choose whether they want an unprecedented fourth term or not. And certainly we'll all abide by the result.
And Governor, to make sure I heard you correctly, your second-term platform is making sure that realignment and LTFF are implemented properly and controlling spending. Is that
Well, those are very important. We have a little drought to deal with. I have a water plan. I have to operationalize it. There's questions of all sorts of questions in using water more efficiently and managing it better and finding storage and all the rest of that. So I don't want to limit myself, within 40 minutes of closing of the polls in June to what needs to be done over the next 4.5 years. But I think you have the general outline that I believe that if these vote results hold up, it is a vote for strong fiscal management. And our credit rating is going up. I think if we get the right kind of budget, it'll go up again. And at the end of the day, people want to feel they don't need to worry about how Sacramento is being run, that it's in good hands. And I think that will be certainly the test that people are going to be looking for in November.
Governor, there's been some friction between you and Democratic legislators in spending for the budget. How do you plan to reconcile that?
Well, I would say I wouldn't call it friction. I'd call it the separation of powers. And we don't have a unitary system of government. We have judges, and we have assembly leaders, and we have Senate leaders, and they all have different views, although in general we have much more in common than we differ on. So I'm sure at the end of the day we're going to get a timely budget, and I'll be able to sign it or modify it as appropriate.
How are you going to defend your record for the last 4 years to voters going forward into November?
How would I say that? I'm going to do what I've been doing before. This is not my first time standing here, and I think the important thing is to do your job, speak honestly and clearly and candidly, and I certainly intend to do that, and I'm not going to limit myself to the state capitol. I'll be in different parts of the state, meeting with people and learning about what needs to be done in more detail, as well as answering questions from citizens and reporters from I would say from Modoc to Brawley. I intend to get around the state of California.
And you also have the counties, northern parts of the state that are voting on secession. Are you going to be doing more to visit those counties and address their feelings of isolation?
Yeah, I'm going to definitely talk to the people of Jefferson and tell them they ought to stick around. Okay. All right, guys and ladies, thank you very much, and thanks for showing up. It's a beautiful old house. When I studied for the bar, I passed it. So this house has been a charm, and hopefully it'll be again.
What's on the menu tonight?
What was on the menu was salad,
pasta,
a little chicken, and some cookies at the end.
Yes, which we haven't had yet.
We haven't had. So we have my agency secretaries and some of the people that work with me in the governor's office, and we are definitely planning an agenda for the future, assuming that we're given the mandate, and we're not going to count our chickens before they're hatched, or well, I don't know how that metaphor goes, but we'll leave it. What? Well, I don't think it's in yet, but I think we're going to do better. The last Brown to cover win Calusa was my father against Richard Nixon, so it's been a while. All right, thank you very much.
Well, there you go. Governor Brown commenting on his historic election tonight, getting about 56–57% of the vote, saying it was a vote for strong fiscal management. The credit rating in California is up. Sacramento, he says, is being run in good hands. And as far as the Democrats wanting to spend more, he says, well, that's a separation of powers at play here. The governor obviously very happy with tonight's performance. He's looking forward to whoever his Republican challenger will be in November. Reporting live in downtown Sacramento, Mike Lurie, KCRA 3 News.
And definitely bringing it all full circle there and being there tonight at the governor's mansion. All right, Mike Lurie, thank you so much.